Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Wi-Fi battle. Today we have week 9 of the NGDL3 versus OminousAcid. This is a rematch from battle number 90/week 4. He is a fellow YouTuber, so I'm going to leave a link to his channel in the video description so you guys can check him out afterwards if you want. And looking at his team, he is actually bringing just about the same lineup as he did last time, only difference being the Umbreon. But of course he does have the Arceus on his team as well, because as previously mentioned, Ubers are eligible to be drafted in this draft league as long as you're willing to pay the high cost associated with them. So looking at my team, it is pretty much the same lineup I've been using for most of this tournament. Pretty much the same squad that I used against him last time, except for this time I am bringing Seismitoad. I believe that is the only change I made. So going into this match, I am actually 3-5, whereas my opponent is 5-3. So a pretty critical match for both of us, actually. For me to try and climb back into the standings here, pretty much a must-win, and for him to solidify his standings toward the top, pretty much a must-win as well. So it should definitely be another good one, and we're going to get into it. So, looking at his team, I really wasn't sure what he was going to lead with. He definitely has a couple of solid options there. So I just decided to lead with my Goodra, as he ends up leading with his Necrozma. So, first turn, I am just going to go straight for a Sludge Bomb here, trying to get some chip damage and a potential poison. Unfortunately, that does virtually nothing to this thing, leading me to believe it is a specially defensive variant, and he just goes for the Stealth Rock in turn to get that entry hazard set up on me. So this turn, I am going to go for another Sludge Bomb, actually predicting the switch into the Gardevoir, thinking he would predict the Dragon move, but he does stay in and go for the knockoff to get rid of my Assault Vest and take me down by about a third, which was pretty unfortunate. So this turn I am just going to go for the Draco Meteor, hoping it'll be enough to take him out, but unfortunately this thing is just way too specially defensive. It does survive in the red. I do have my special attack harshly lowered from that, of course, and then he just goes for the Moonlight to put himself back up to about 3/4 health. So none of that really worked out the way I planned. I am going to go for the switch here directly into my Aggron, predicting the Moonlight once again. I am going to take some damage from the rocks, but he actually goes for the switch here directly into his Silvally, which is actually the ground Silvally. So here, of course, I am going to go straight for the Mega Evolution into Mega Aggron. And he is going to outspeed me and go for the multi-attack. It is ground-based, but I am max physical defense here, plus the filter ability, so that is only going to take me down to about 2/3, and then I am just going to go for the Stealth Rock in return to get the entry hazard set up on him as well. So this turn I am going to go for the switch. I do want to keep my Aggron healthy for the rest of his team, so I am going to come in with my Seismitoad and take some damage from the rocks, as he is going to go for the Parting Shot here, which is going to lower my attack and special attack, as well as give him the mandatory switch. And off of that, he is going to come in with the Gardevoir. And of course he is going to take some damage from the rocks, and he is going to trace my Water Absorb there. So I am going to regain the rest of my health with the leftovers there as well. So unfortunately I do have to switch here, fearing this thing might be carrying a grass move. I don't want to get taken out with that, so I am going to come back in with my Goodra and take more damage from the rocks, as he is going to go for the Mega Evolution into Mega Gardevoir. And he is just going to play it safe here, actually, and go straight for the Hyper Voice. Because of the Pixie-Late ability, it does get boosted and changed to a Fairy move, and unfortunately, that is going to be enough to take out my Goodra there, dropping me down to 5 Pokemon. So then I am going to come in with my Raikou and take some damage from the rocks, and my pressure is going to come into play. And he is going to go for the switch here. Doesn't want to take an attack from me, so he is going to come back in with the Silvally, probably predicting the electric move, take some damage from the rocks, and unfortunately I do go for the Volt Switch, so it doesn't do anything there. And then unfortunately I do have to switch out here since I am Choice Specs locked into that. So I am going to switch back into my Seismitoad and take some damage from the rocks as he does go for the multi-attack. So that is going to take me down by about a third, not too bad, and then I'm going to regain some health from the leftovers. So this turn again, he is going to go for the parting shot, which is again going to lower my attack and special attack, and of course give him the mandatory switch. And off of that, this time he is going to come in with the Umbreon. So he is going to take some damage from the rocks, as I actually do go for the Toxic here to go ahead and land the poison on whatever he decides to leave in. So that is going to badly poison the Umbreon. Unfortunately, he is carrying the Synchronize ability, so that is actually going to poison me in return as well, which was pretty unfortunate there. Then I am going to regain some health from the leftovers, as he also regains health from the leftovers. And then I'm going to take some damage from the poison, as he will also take some damage from the poison. So this turn, I know I am going to outspeed him because of the order that the leftovers and poison went last turn. I am just going to go for the knockoff here, which is not going to do much of anything to him, but it is going to get rid of his leftovers, which is nice. He is actually going to go for the Wish to get the health restoration for one of his Pokemon next turn, as I do regain more health with the leftovers, and then we are both going to take another round of poison damage. So I am going to go for the switch here. I do have the poison damage racking up on me. I don't want to take any more from that, so I'm going to come back in with the Raikou and take more damage from the rocks, as my pressure is going to come back into play, and he is going to go for the switch himself back into his Necrozma and to take some damage from the rocks, but not going to matter since the Wish is just going to put him right back up to full health. So I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball this turn, trying to get as much damage as possible on this thing. I am Choice Specs, even so that only takes him down by about a third, so not much at all. This thing is very specially defensive, probably Assault Vest, as he does hit me with a Psychic to drop me a little below half. So this turn I am going to switch out directly into my Aggron once again, knowing that there's not a lot this thing can do to me. I do take some damage from the rocks, but he actually switches out as well back into his Umbreon, and he is going to take some more damage from the rocks and poison as well. So this turn he is going to outspeed me, and he's just going to go for the Wish once again to get the health restoration for one of his Pokemon next turn. I do just go straight for the Superpower here, hoping he stayed in and hoping it would be enough to take him out. Fortunately, both of those things are the case. It is going to cut my attack and defense, but worth it to get rid of the Umbreon and drop him down to 5 Pokemon. So then he is going to come back in with the Gardevoir and take more damage from the rocks. And that is going to force me to switch out. I know the Focus Blast is coming and I don't want to get taken out with that. So I am going to switch back in with my Raikou basically as fodder at this point, since I know I can't take another attack from pretty much anything. I am going to get the pressure once again, but not going to matter since he does go for the Focus Blast and he does connect. So that is going to be enough to finish off my Raikou, dropping me down to 4 Pokemon, and then the Wish is actually going to put him back up to full health as well. So then I am going to come in with Talonflame, and I am going to lose half my health to the rocks there, which does suck, but that is going to force him to switch out, so he is going to come in with his Silvally once again and take more damage from the rocks, as I do go for the U-turn, predicting the switch on his side. Not going to do much of anything there despite being choice banded, so that leads me to believe he is physically defensive set. But I do get the mandatory switch, and off of that I am going to come in with my Seismitoad and regain some health with the leftovers and then take some damage from the poison. So this turn, he is actually going to go for the multi-attack straight away, trying to get as much damage as possible. That does drop me to about a quarter health, and then I am going to go for the Toxic in return to badly poison this thing to try and whittle it down. So I am going to regain more health from the leftovers, and then we are both going to take some more damage from the poison. So that is going to leave me below a quarter, unfortunately. And unfortunately, this turn he is just going to go for another multi-attack straight away. And that is definitely going to be enough to finish off my Seismitoad there, dropping me down to 3 Pokemon. And then he is going to be left at about half health with the poison damage. So then I am going to come in with my Alakazam, and I am definitely going to outspeed this thing. I am just going to go for a Psychic straight away, hoping it's enough to take him out, and luckily enough, that is enough to finish off the Silvally there and drop him down to 4 Pokemon. So then he is going to come in with the Luxray and take some damage from the rocks, as I do hit him with a Psychic. That does drop him a little below half, but he is going to hit me with a Volt Switch in return, which is not going to do a whole lot of damage to me, but it does break my Focus Sash and give him the mandatory switch directly into his Arceus, which does take damage from the rocks as well, but that is not good for me. I know I can't survive an extreme speed here, so I am going to switch back into my Talonflame basically as fodder. It does survive the Stealth Rock damage with 1 HP, but the extreme speed is going to be more than enough to finish that off and drop me down to 2 Pokemon. So then I am going to come back in with Aggron and take some damage from the rocks. And he is going to switch out here. Knows he probably can't take me out from that range with 1 attack, so he is going to come back in with the Necrozma, take more damage from the rocks, as I do go for the Iron Head here, which unfortunately he just barely survives in the red, as I am actually going to take some damage from the Rocky Helmet this thing is carrying. So he is going to go for the Moonlight this turn, unfortunately, which is going to put him up a little above half, as I am going to go for an Earthquake in return, not wanting to take any more damage from the Rocky Helmet. So that actually knocks him right back into the red with a critical hit there, but unfortunately he does survive once again, and again he is just going to go for another Moonlight, which is of course going to put him back up a little above half health. I am just going to go for the Earthquake once again here, trying to whittle this thing down, not really having any other option at this point. That is going to leave him with about a quarter health there. And once again, he is just going to go for a Moonlight to go ahead and put himself back up to about 3/4 health this time, as I do just go for another Earthquake again. Really nothing else I can do at this point, since I don't want to take damage off the Rocky Helmet and don't want to switch out either at this point. So that leaves him at about 1/3 of his health, but he just goes for another Moonlight this turn, which is going to put him back up to almost full, as again I am just going to go for another Earthquake, trying to whittle him down. So really just kind of a stalemate here in this point, with him kind of gaining the upper hand. This time he is left with about half health, so he is gaining a little more health than losing each turn. He does hit me up with the Psychic this turn, actually trying to finish me off, but I do survive in the red with 17 health and go for another Earthquake, which actually knocks him down into the red once again. So again, he is going to go for another Moonlight this turn. Again, just caught in the cycle. Nothing I can really do about it, unfortunately. That does put him back up to about 2/3 health, as I hit him with an Iron Head, which actually gets a crit and takes him down to about 1 HP, but he does survive again, which was pretty unfortunate, as I am actually going to go down there to the Rocky Helmet, leaving me with just 1 Pokemon. So finally I do come back in with Alakazam, and I am just going to go for a Psychic on this thing, which will be more than enough to take it out and drop him down to 3 Pokemon. Not really going to matter though, since he is just going to come back in with the Arceus, take the damage from the rocks, and then just go for the extreme speed, which is going to be enough to finish off my Alakazam. And that is game. So I lost that one 3-0 to OminousAcid, but that was still a good game. Thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new battles in the future. So that's it, and we'll see you next time.